I would just say to those women and those people having sex that you should be using birth control and family planning methods to make sure that you don't have any unexpected pregnancies that you don't want to have, to skip the abortion part altogether. I don't think anybody loves their abortion. I only said that people just don't regret them.
Are you guys familiar with what's happening with the chemical abortion craze that's going on right now?
No. The pill?
No, not the pill. That's different. I'm talking about where they're mailing chemical abortion packets.
Oh yeah.
Where women are bleeding out and emergency room visits are up nearly 300%.
Wow,
you guys should look into it. It's a very serious thing.
But why is that?
Because abortion,
it's
because women don't have access to safe abortion, so they start resorting to these sorts of methods that are way
There's no such thing as a safe abortion. Let me be honest.
Really? You just said that there were millions of women that got an abortion, but you're going to say that none of them were, and all of them died after?
All the babies did.
But did the women? Is it safe? Is it unsafe for a woman to procure an abortion?
But it doesn't. Hold on.
Answer that question. Is it unsafe for a woman to procure an abortion?
Every single abortion.
You know it's not unsafe. That's why you want to answer.
Hold on. Let them answer.
Every single abortion has a victim necessarily, and many times has a woman full of regret that we are now seeing. And I'm not going to make up numbers out of nowhere, but there is a growing community of abortion regret, including, people that are speaking out and they're saying, I wish I wouldn't have, and it resulted in either difficulty to have children in the future or mental trauma.
Why do you care about their life?
That's a good question.
Or what about the moms like her mother, who
I
wish I actually had an abortion because that wasn't the life path that I wanted to go down, but it was one that I chose to make. Do you care about those?
I care about all people. So why do I care?
Do you care about that specific opinion? Somebody who regrets not getting an abortion.
No, I don't regret that mothers wanted to murder their kid.
But do you care about the opinions of moms who actually say, I have a child, but I'm not happy with having a family. I actually wish I had gotten an abortion. Do you think that
Why don't they just kill their kid then?
I don't think that it not necessarily follows that if you regret not getting an abortion that you're going to commit murder.
But it's the same thing. Yeah, just put your kid up for adoption.
What about adoption?
If you regret it so bad, just give it.
I don't think most people at that point, they're not going to put their kid up for adoption.
Why not? You regret it.
No, I'm not saying anything's stopping them. I'm saying most people are not going to do that. But if you ask them, would you have rather had an abortion or a family? Some of them might say, yeah, actually, having a family and raising a child is very hard. I actually wish I had an abortion.
I don't doubt that opinion might be held.
Not everybody is fit to be a parent.
But let just answer your question really quick. Why do I care? If you cannot get the life question right, then you get every other question wrong. When does life begin? And I care about the innocent. I don't like bullies. I don't like evil. And I believe it is an act of evil to destroy those that can't defend themselves, including the 1 million babies in
Are you pro-contraception? Are you pro-women
personally, or I'm agnostic on the question politically, meaning it's legal, so be it.
Okay.
But I wouldn't consider it to be a good lifestyle choice, including most specifically hormonal birth control. Now, mind you, I'm over my skis on this being a man, but I will yield to the growing community of women on both sides of the political aisle that are ditching their hormonal birth control because they say, I don't like the way it makes me feel. They want an
IUD, which is a non-hormonal form of birth control.
But there is a growing body of literature by Dr. Daniel Amen and many other people that show that the pill increases anxiety and depression and certain types of ideation. So again, I am not going to act like an expert on that, but that's a legit community online of people that are ditching hormonal birth control.
I think the way that you're phrasing things of murdering the babies is quite interesting, because I don't think in any other example where we have a person and their life is somehow connected to someone else, if they decide hey, I don't want to do this anymore, I don't want to give my kidney to this person, I don't want to continue this blood transfusion, I don't want to continue this process, we wouldn't go and point at them and be you're a murderer. So I just think that there is a distinction to be made here when you're saying oh no, they're murdering babies, by just deciding that hey, actually I don't want this fetus to continue using my lungs, my blood, my organs to continue developing. Would you call somebody who doesn't want to have give a blood transfusion or give a kidney or something like that?
No, that's a good question. That's actually a good faith question. So if I had the specific type of blood type, okay, and in a hypothetical desert island, there happened to be a medical facility, and somebody right there needed a blood transfusion, and I said no, I would be complicit in their death. Yes.
Okay.
I'm saying that is the extrapolation of the hypothetical you articulated.
So if, what is
complicit
it?
To the point that you should be punished if you refuse to render aid to that person?
Let me finish. Aaron, let Pixie finish.
Yeah. Okay, so if the government decided, hey, you know what, let's say Joe Biden is put in the hospital, and you're the only person, for whatever reason, in the world that can like give him a kidney, and you have to basically give him like constant transfusions of blood for like the next year, would be a murder if you decide not to do that.
Well, first I would do it, even though I can't stand Joe Biden. So, yeah, just for the record. And if it was only for 9 months, yeah, I'd do it.
And if you didn't do it, do you think you should be punished with jail time or worse?
It depends the type of informed consent that goes alongside of it, which goes back to why I believe women are lied to and women are victims in the abortion process. And yes, there are exceptions where women really know what's happening.
I was going to say, even
very, very rare. However, I don't think the law should go towards women. I think they are. First of all, I just think that there should be grace and forgiveness, because a lot of women go to abortions in crisis. They feel overwhelmed. They feel as if the world is against them. The abortionists, let me be very clear, the people that call themselves medical doctors that know better, that actually do the very damaging, graphic removal of the baby, those are the people that I think should be focused when it comes to law. To your point, though, if for 9 months I would have to live a tougher life for another human being to live, I would do that.
Wait, but it's
What
not
about-
just wait. I want to be clear. Would, like what Erin was saying earlier, so do you think the government should be able to punish you for not doing that? Should you be able to go to jail, or should the government be able to send you to jail because you didn't want to give blood transfusions to Joe Biden for 9 months? Should the government have that ability?
It depends if I knew the totality, if there really were no other options. If all of a sudden in this theoretical stranded desert island, in this abstract thing, and I had all the informed consent, and Joe Biden was dying, and he said, "Help me out, bro. I need 9 months of your blood." And I said no, I would be at the very least third-degree murder. Yes.
Do you think that
in that stranded? Because all of a sudden, if I let him go and I say, no, I'm not going to give you my blood, I'm not going to give you my stuff, I personally wouldn't be able to live with myself. If I have something that I don't need, maybe you guys agree or disagree. If I have something that won't, and this is my own personal life, you guys could disagree, but if I have something that will make my life more difficult for 9 months, to use the analogy, right? But it meant another life could continue, I would sign up in a second.
All right, so I've been watching this for some 20 odd years. Just. Oh, ma'am, you've been doing it forever. Welcome
Guys,
to the
let
First Amendment. I fought for
Sir,
it.
can you just
see
stay
this
focused on me?
taxpayer-paid jacket?
Sir.
Thank you. I brought it overseas.
All right, sir, just ask me the question.
So what is it about conservatives and this whole racism thing? Like, you guys are always just saying that it's either not a thing or it's, just not in any of the institutions or the police department. But it seems that over the past 18 years, we've had several race riots, and the biggest one being in 2020. So it's like, how are we still denying segregation in a city where we can clearly see what fucking neighborhoods are white, which ones are black, which ones are Latino, and we know how we got there. So it's like, what is it with conservatives and admitting that there's a problem and not addressing it? Because it seems like you guys want to be obsessed with, the gender thing or the racism thing, and then you guys say, it's not here, it's not a big problem. But why are millions of people rioting every couple years?
So let me ask you a question.
We can say that it's Democrats and shit, right?
Well, let me ask you a question.
Go ahead.
So what do you think is a bigger problem facing America, single fatherhood or racism?
Racism, by far. That's how
Can you
we
say
got
that?
to-
Say that in the microphone.
Racism, by far, because racism gets people killed, not single fatherhood.
Well, no, a single motherhood. Let me be more specific. So single moms, their fathers leaving the home, you think is a bigger problem than racism?
No, sir. I'm gonna repeat that one again for you. I think racism is a bigger problem than fathers being outside of the home. However, I do see fathers not being in the home is a problem.
Let's make sure we're defining our terms. How would you define racism then?
Racism is a system of oppression used by a certain group using prejudice, institutional power, and it's situated by the media, government, and all these other institutions.
So give me an example of one thing you as a black man cannot do that I as a white man can do in America.
Got you. Okay, so about 2 weeks ago, right, I went to a DeSantis rally. Got my ticket, all that good bullshit. Been to a million different, rallies of a kind, whether, I was a conservative at the time or whether I was a liberal, right? I know that as a black person, I am far more likely to be arrested for expressing my view, whether I am a conservative or a liberal. And I've done it on both sides. And, yes, I was arrested.
You were probably being a jerk. That's
why
why you were
actually,
arrested,
and
not
that's the
because
best
of
part,
color
and that's
of
the
your
best
skin.
part, right? That's the best part. I wasn't even being a jerk. And the courts even found, our beloved courts.
Let me make sure I understand this. So you think the bigger problem than fathers not being in the home is a abstract conspiracy theory that you have that hecklers and jerks at political events are arrested because of the color of their skin? That's the best definition of institutional racism.
No, that's not my definition on racism. I did
No,
tell
give
you
me
what
an
my
example
definition
of something a white man like me can do that a black man like you can't do. Because guess
Oh,
what?
for one-
if I showed
for
up
one-
at a DeSantis
sure.
event and started heckling, I'd be
Sure.
kicked out and arrested.
No, you would not. No, you. In fact,
Well,
I even have evidence.
You know how
of
I
that.
know that's true?
You wanna
Most
know-
of the
what, do you
hecklers
wanna know
are
how
these
I know it's
white
true?
suburban kids
I have
from
hundreds
Highland
of-
Park, and they're arrested a lot more, actually, when you see the mugshots. Yeah.
Oh, so white kids are arrested a lot more. Could
Well,
that possibly be? Could that possibly
you talk
be?
into the mic?
And I'm just guessing here. Could it possibly be that white people are arrested more because you have a higher population and therefore by proximity you are more like, because it's math, it's basic math. I know we hate math. I know we hate it, but I passed
Well,
it,
okay.
unlike y'all.
So let me ask you a question. How does racism contribute to black-on-black crime in Chicago? How is white people to blame for that?
Oh, actually, matter of fact, that's actually a whole other issue. So let's talk about, so you want to talk about intracommunal violence as it pertains to
So what
racism.
does the white man have to do with that?
So, and that's a great thing. I love the red herring that you threw in there.
No, it's-
yes,
it's-
because,
it's a question.
hey, intracommunal violence is proximal, right? So, when we have segregation and we got races sitting in one area, and you got another race in another area. Now, we never ask white people, why is white-on-white crime so high with white people, and but instead we focus on black people.
Yeah, so out of the 530 murders in Chicago of the last year, how many were black-on-black crime?
Hey, I wasn't looking. But you know what I
Yeah,
do know?
well
But
over
you know,
420 of them were black-on-black gang-related crimes.
Sure.